first week of the lockdown, scared of the police,
Okay.
because like by 7 everybody's at home and these children are still on the street. So then they got so scared. The situation was so worrying. So it was not really a good time. So what we had to do is we had to speak with the district task force, COVID-19 district task force, and we said, well, we need a confined place for these children so that they are safe, and we will do what it is needed to resettle them back home after the lockdown. So we had to meet the district the district community development officer and the probation officer and other key people on the committee of the district task force. Then our first suggestion was we wanted them to get us a school where we can get all these children, confine them in one place, like the way it is done in Kampala.
Okay.
So that wasn't successful. However, we had a volunteer who offered us a space along Kira Lane, and that is a very big space, and that is where we are now offering temporary residential care to these children who are still on the streets. And our plan is to see that we'll settle them back home to their families after the lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah, but the district task force gave us permission to use that place.
Okay. Now taking you back to my question, how did this come about? How did these kids live there? Their homes to streets. We want to understand the inside story about them getting on streets.
Well, there are so many reasons as to why these children live on the streets. One of the reasons is poverty. They cannot get food, and so they have to really run to the street and get what to eat. Some of them, they go through domestic violence at home, and it's because of domestic violence you find themselves on the streets because they are running away from abuse, so they come on the streets. Then we also have reasons like peer influence. Some of them are being influenced by some of their peers. I guess in point there was there was a 7-year-old boy who was coming from Mayuge. His friend told him that when you come to Jinja is a city, immediately you are going to get what? You're going to get a job. Life is so good. So the first day this boy reached on the street, he couldn't believe it. Started struggling, started suffering.
He didn't feel the city.
He didn't feel the city.
And the opportunities are shared with the city.
Yeah, he also shared with the city, yes. So our social workers had to move out on the street, and they met him, and they had to resettle him back home to Mayuge. And yeah, basically there are many reasons as to why these children come and live on the streets. And then the other thing that we discovered through our work is that polygamous families. A man has about 4 women and then has each like around 7 children and cannot afford to feed all these children. So some children, they find life being hard at home and they end up coming on the streets to go for what to eat, something like that.
Okay.
So there are really quite a number of reasons as to why these children come to live on the streets or to stay on the streets.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Solomon, now I get you. Is getting on the street because you've been working with these kids, and you must have at one point befriended them to know the real inside story. Is getting on the street a choice, or it's the situation that forces them to be on streets? If you to give your analytical view about this.
I would say from experience that I've had with working with these children, it's a choice.
They choose to.
Yeah, they choose to because of that push factor that is at home. They find it easier to live on street because they know they will find more friends there.
Okay.
And one thing you should know with when these children get to the street, they have this solidarity that they build. When there's a new child that has come on the street, they're always so there's that solidarity that they have. So,
teamwork.
Yeah, that teamwork is there, which is really very good. But the other thing that I wanted to add, what really pushes these children on the street, there's this thing that I've always encouraged parents to do. Most of our parents are forgetting these, should I call them, these old elementaries. Some of our parents are fearing to talk to us, the young people and even the children themselves. So you find, like Alfred has said, the man is having like four wives or 4 women, but doesn't have time to pray to talk to the children, doesn't have time to talk to the wife. So in the end, everyone lives his own life. So this child ends up on the street saying, after all, my mom is not caring, my dad is not talking to me, so no one is talking to me, no one is guiding me. So there's that big gap that we've always seen. That even if you go to a family and talk to a family, there's this issue, they will tell you frankly,
Okay.
oh, yeah, it's chocolate.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yes.
I love the experience.
Yes.
Now, finally said that it's just a choice that they choose to. I choose to walk on streets and, of course, make street my home. Then, when they get there, because you said they are optimistic that they are going to find a better way of living compared to where they have been. So, do they find a blessing on the street workers?
There is actually no blessing on the street, I would say. It's kind of funny and ironic, but there is no life on the street. There is nothing good. That's why we keep saying no street called home, right?
Yeah.
I think, there is nothing good that they find, because first of all, there's nothing to eat. You have to struggle for what to eat.
True.
When you don't look for bottles, when you don't scavenge around, you won't get what to eat. When you don't have friends, you can't eat. So that's not a blessing.
Okay.
And then secondly, the cold in the night, when it has rained, you're on your veranda, all the water, imagine, is on you. You know, it's sweeping you. Then the other thing, there are these other big street men who keep on beating them. So that is all not a blessing. So it is really not good for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, like a person who has worked with the street children for a couple of years, but let's talk about the organization of the street children, because we have had many people alleging that this is an organized movement of young people that choose to defy the set standards, the constitution of where they come from, I mean the home setting. And so finally, the defiant ones, they turned to be disgruntled and they find themselves on streets. It is said that they become more organized, and even it's said that some people take advantage of them by telling them to solicit some money from people on the streets. Some people have said they're employed to go and, of course, break into people's shops and so on. So, how do these street children really have that organization as we hear?
Well, what I would say is that a child is a child. However, when they grow up and they're above the age of 17 years, that is when they begin learning those bad habits of stealing, of doing ABCD. But the ones that we work with in Ginger here, we've not yet found much of those cases of breaking into people's shops, especially the young ones. However, when they turn into adulthood, and that's when now they begin, stealing and ABCD. But work with these young people when they are still on the streets, because we don't want them to reach that adulthood stage where they turn out to be kind of wild and rebels and ABCD. So that's what we do, and we want to see that as soon as the child reaches on the streets, we meet the child, interact with the child, find out the story of the child, where did you come from. Then from there, we make preparation and we reunite these children back home to their families.
Okay.
And then about theft, of course, we have some thieves, real thieves on the streets, who sometimes they come and use these young children to get involved into theft. So they use them to jump into people's houses and then they steal. However, we have a drop-in center in town, and we always tell children about the dangers of living on and how they should behave, and we prepare them to be taken back home. And those bad habits, we encourage them not to do them when they're under. So we tell them that you'll face ABCD. However, those consequences are really very, very, very bad.
Okay. Now, before we talk about how best we can mitigate the push factors or this problem of street children, now let's talk about their way of life in this lockdown. How are they surviving? And like you said, you tried engaging the Ginger District Task Force of COVID-19, and of course was full as such, and so you advised to find better ways. How are they living now, the street children?
Yeah, what we did is, the district task force was still in the process of getting us a school. Then immediately another person, another volunteer offered us space. So then we said, well, let us now use this space. So the district task force had to give us permission to use this space. However, life on the street during this lockdown was very, very, very bad. And actually, because of the curfews, what some of the children did is that they hooked up into like groups of 4, groups of 5, and some of them moved out of Ginger Town. Like they rented around the Chikaramoja. They got a cheap place because they wanted to be away from town center because of the fears of being beaten up by the police. But they are surviving. The way they survive was
wait. You said they decided to go and rent somewhere.
Yes.
You mean they have capacity to even rent?
Yeah, some of them they scavenge. They look for scrap, they look for bottles, and they sell, and then they get some money. Of course, places that are around those ends of Chikaramoja and some places out of city, they are very, very cheap. You can get a house of 10,000 per month, 20,000 per month. So they save the little that they get after selling the scrap.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds to be a little bit, of course, promising. If they can maneuver and find where to be, then there is this rolling question in my brains that why not them to have a permanent home even before this lockdown. But now, I want my brother Solomon to share with us the experience. How hard or easy it is to mobilize street children, because you said was ready to offer free space for a given period of time, meaning the street children can easily be mobilized. So how easy or hard it is to mobilize them?
I would say it's easy because one, we are connected with them, and while as we are connected with them, the people that also that work with them work with us. They are able to inform us that, oh, there are some children who sleep around here. There are some children who sleep around my veranda. So could you please come and maybe talk to them? So I would say it's quite easy for that. But however, I would say it's also a little bit difficult this time round specifically, because when you look at the young ones and the older ones, the older ones can scavenge around and look for what to eat, but then the young ones are keeping in the bush. Some of them are keeping in the trenches. So sometimes it is quite hard to look for them. Even if you peep around the trench, you may not be able to see because someone is, is hiding somewhere. So because of that hiding, especially the young ones, because of fear, you can't really mobilize them very well.
Are we right to refer to them as disciples of ghetto? Because I hear ghetto people.
Partly I would say yes, partly I would say no, because to what I know with the word ghetto,
what does it mean?
Some people take it that whoever is in the ghetto
must be hustler.
Exactly.
Aaron must be a ghetto gladiator then.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's interesting, knowing that these young people can be mobilized and they can listen. But now, taking it from the experience that we had, I think last year, if not early this year, I remember these ghetto kids or street kids stabbed a police officer, and that's why I was asking the experience, because they hear sayings. The street journalists will tell you that these street children, most of them, they are armed with either knives or they have their locally made batons. So how do you relate with them? Because you said you guys sometimes you communicate the language they understand, and because of what I've heard about the street children, it has made me and them not to have that deadlock time of a dialogue to sit and talk, because I'm always afraid that they have knives and they have locally made batons. So how do we get on the same table and we talk? Because I would love to do some investigative story about them. But now, based on what I hear, I see when they say my brother like mitwale tano wano ngatojina I can simply say where's commander
Yeah, definitely. I would say, I think before you do anything, you do a risk assessment. Yeah, which I think most of us have, don't want to say all of us have done, but some of us have failed to do. But I would say if you give yourself time, these are the simplest children to handle. There's what we call relationship building. If you relate with them well, and this relation is not 1 day, 1 hour. If you keep on relating with them daily, today, tomorrow, the other day, you find you're getting so closer, and you can even go to a danger zone and nothing happens to you. They can even easily tell you, you know what, uncle, please don't go there, because that is a very dangerous place. They will tell you, but that all comes after you have related with them. Coming back to your question about how these children are, some of them are armed, some of them have their batons. I would say yes, some of them have them for security, for safety, because they know most people don't like them. So when they are sleeping, they know anyone is coming to attack them. So that is like a source of security. But that only applies to the big ones, the ones we are calling street men now. But these young ones, you'd find them normal. Find them normal. But the big ones, those ones I would definitely accept, because those ones are above, and they relate with those other that I'm calling the ghetto.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'll be getting back to you, Solomon. Now I want to go to Alfred.
Yeah.
I do understand when I went to school, unfortunately I was not interested in this kindergarten level. So straight away from P1 to P7, I think you graduate going to another level of lower secondary. And after senior level, there's some merrymaking for at least some 1 week, then you go back to school again for yet another level. And after that, there's again some celebrations until they tell you now you have to make a choice of the course you're going to do. Now when you start calculating your weight vis-a-vis the points you have, now you start realizing that it's not over until it's over. Then you have now university. First year there's always celebration because of course you've joined university. Until you get a retake, then you realize life is not just about merrymaking. Now when we graduate, of course there's a lot of celebrations. The DJs will play cool music, and of course our people in the community, they always talk about mikolo kubakulia kujaganya, and see people trying to dance up and down. Those who cannot dance, they'll nod heads, at least vertically if not horizontally. Now we get to the point that now these street kids also, like I've talked about the education system, they also graduate. I understand that they are once called street kids because they are below the age of 18. Now what happens after someone reaching 18 or someone turning 18? Do they turn to be street men? Do they turn to be thieves? Do they turn to be good people in the community? We'd love you to share with us. Because the second part of the reference point will be now you, Salva, to share with us how your intervention has been in this setting of the street kids and what you're doing. But now, tell us about what happens after I'm a street child, then what next when I'm a man?
Yeah. First, SOLVE is an acronym for Support and Love by Education.
Oh yes.
We so much want to see that children living on the street also access education. So what we do is our education system is in such a way that we have primary, we have secondary, and then we have vocational.
Okay, now, but before there, I'm talking about these ones on the street, because we are going to have, we still have enough time to talk about that.
Okay.
But these ones living on the street, after them turning 18, what next? Do they turn to be robbers, thieves, good people in the community? They turn to join LDU, police, elsewhere chairperson? I don't know. Where do they go exactly? Or they turn to be journalists like me?
Yeah, that's a good question. And
or DJs.
we've met children on the streets, and some of them who are even above the age of 18 years, and they asked a question. They say, uncle, how about us who are above 18 years?
They refer to you as an uncle.
Yeah, uncle, yes. Yeah. The uncle, we always see you helping these young ones, How about these ones who are above the age of 18 years? So what we do, actually, when they're above 18 years, they turn out to be very, very dangerous. And what we really desire is that actually that's the time when we need to work together with the government and some policymakers to see that how can we help such people. But we as a project, what we've been doing, we've been having a very good partnership with the East African Playgrounds, where we refer these boys who are above 18 years for apprenticeship and vocational skill training, things like welding, things like carpentry, things like and so many. So we've been having that free opportunity where we refer them, but we tell them to behave very well, and because of that, we've had most of them graduate to welders, others caterers, and many people have really benefited. Many of them have benefited, but it's very, very dangerous when they're 18 and they're still on the streets. The other day I was at when was it? 2 months ago, I was at CPS Ginger. I'd gone there. Sometime we work with the police on some of the issues of children living on the streets.
Okay.
So there's this boy who was arrested and he was put into jail. Actually, the very first time the curfew started. So they got him. He was at some film hall. So they asked him, "Where do you stay?" Then he said, "I stay in the." He mentioned Mairombiri. Then he's like, "But why are you, watching film at such a time?" He said, "Well, I don't have what to do. I've grown up on the street for a long time, and I don't have my parents. So I decided to rent here and even have a wife." They were asking, "Why are you, still coming on the street?" He said, "I want to survive, I want to survive." But his story was that he's lived on the street for long, and he has no relatives, and he needs support, like going back to such vocational skill and whatever, and he's unable to do that. So once in a while, I think we need to help such people, but many people always ignore them. But for us as a project, we try to identify some of the vocational skills so that they can also benefit. But for the young ones, we can take them back to school.
Well, okay, we have understood the life of street children. Now tell us, when did you start, of course, working towards seeing that street children get a better life tomorrow as an organization, as a project that you're implementing? When did you start this? And maybe you can share with us the experiences.
Yeah, some of it started way back in 2008, and our vision is to see that there is no street called home. That's why we believe that children belong to families. So we started way back in 2008, and we've really done a lot over the years. When last year we were trying to analyze the data, the number of children that we resettled back on their family for the 10 years. And for last year, when we had the 11th year, we had the total number, according to our data, we had resettled 400 children from 2008 to 2018. We had the total number of 400 children that we resettled back home to their families. And that was a very good number, and we were really celebrating. We were happy for the great work that we were doing here. Yeah, but there's a lot that we've done, over the years, and we still hope to see that more of these children are off the streets and get back onto their families. Okay,
could you please maybe tell us about the certain projects that you're doing, or what are you, be specific, what are you addressing now? with the street children? Are you taking them back to school? Are you just prioritizing maybe hands-on skills? You've called it vocation. Are you looking at resettling them? Tell us about the real things that you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, we have the drop-in center. Basically, is in the heart of the town, and that is a center where we meet all children living on the streets. We build relationship with them. You know, before you start helping a child on the streets, you need to have that relationship, that rapport. So that drop-in center, they come every day. They shower. You know, we teach them, and then we also play football. They love football so much. So we have a playground where we go every Wednesday. But as they come to this center, you get their story, their profile. Where did you come from? You know, we don't have to go back home. And if they say yes, immediately we can arrange, get transport, and take them back home to their families. Then we have a rehabilitation center located in Namlesa on 5 acres of land. It is our own premises. And there we do have halfway home and resettlement, and Solomon is the one who is heading that department. Then also we have a drug rehab center that helps these children who are addicted to taking drugs. In 2015, we did a research and we wanted to find out what are some of the reasons as why these children take drugs. The aviation fuel and the glue and everything. We found out that they take quite many, and we thought it a good idea to start this drug rehab center. So we had to. It is now in operation for the last, I think now 3 years. So it is helping these children who are addicted to taking drugs. So we also have the Department of Education, where the vulnerable children, after resettling them back home, and we find that they want to go back to school, but their parents cannot afford to take them back to school. So the staff that we work with do several follow-ups and assessments, and then also they find out a nearby school where this child comes from. Then this child is taken back to school. So in total, before the lockdown, we had a total number of 120 to 30 children who are in school. Some of them are in boarding, and some of them are in their school. And we have had graduates who are teachers from street life. They are now teachers. We have even drivers. We have drivers, but they were one time on the streets. So what they do is they come back when we have meetings. They even come back on the streets and they speak to these ones. That is possible. I've graduated. You can also make it. So they mentor them to kind of change and be like them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they talk about their success stories and share with others.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if the street children, once in a while, especially those who have excelled, find time off to go and share their success story, why not me also now to take just a bit of some 2 or if not 1 minute, and also let Peps say something about the successful stories that they have in this lockdown. Good evening. Is that a success story? Yeah. Azuje kumalisha nga njagala kumu. Sorry.